Hey, the better rifle. Drop the gun! Oh, shit! I'm hit. I'm okay. But I'm not gonna die.
Welcome to Badges, Bullets, and Blunders, the show that tells funny cop stories from real people who live them. I'm your host, Travis Harless. Before we get started, if you'd like to support the podcast, go check out our friends at Slick Sleeve Syndicate for podcast t-shirts and other merchandise. It's just a t-shirt company. Link will be in the description. Today's guests are my friend Luis and Chad. Luis and Chad are special agents who work on an apprehension task force in California. Luis, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself? How long you've been in law enforcement and what did you do before you became a law enforcement officer?
Um, I've been in law enforcement since 2001. Previously worked for a county in California before moving over to where I'm at now. Prior to that, just run-of-the-mill jobs. Went to college. Decided I didn't want to pursue careers related to my major, and got into law enforcement.
Okay. What are some assignments you've worked since you've been in law enforcement?
Mostly undercover stuff. I've done narcotics task force in the past. Just regular street supervision stuff, and then the task force that I'm on now.
Okay.
But mostly undercover apprehension stuff.
Yeah. Tracking down people that are wanted.
Pretty much, yeah.
Okay. How about you, Chad? How long you been in law enforcement? What you used to do before?
I started in April of 2000, and then before April, I was in the Coast Guard.
Oh, okay.
Joined the Coast Guard in 1995, then got out in 1999, and came straight into the department after getting out of the Coast Guard.
Okay. What are some assignments you've worked?
I started in 2000 in custody, like in a institution, and then I came out to the streets and did street level supervision, and then from there I went into undercover, like Luis, and did been working like undercover fugitive apprehension for about 11 years.
Done that since 2011.
Since
We started
2011,
doing fugitive stuff.
Time flies.
Time flies.
Yeah.
Time flies.
Yeah. All right. Well, and you guys' role as apprehension officers, you've come across some wild stuff. You would tell us about this Weedshop Operation.
So back then we were fairly new. We did stuff kind of on the fly. No operational planning.
What's the time frame? When was this?
This was
Probably close to 2011.
2011,
Yeah.
2012.
Learn as you go.
Yeah,
Yes.
pretty much. Learn on the fly. It's like, hey, here's this guy, go find him. And that's what we did. So we had information that this person would frequent a weed shop. So we went over there, we did some surveillance, we didn't see him outside. So I came up with the plan that I was going to go in the weed shop to see if he was in there. Not expecting that he was going to be in there. So I left Chad outside. I said, hey, I'm going to go in.
Because I'm not very undercover looking. He's
Yeah.
more
Yeah.
more
For that
undercover
area,
looking.
I blended in more for that area.
I know what you're saying.
So I left Chad outside.
I got the same problem.
Yeah, yeah.
So bad part is I had a radio in my back pocket, and it was a big radio.
Yeah.
Trying to cover it with my shirt. So I go in there, trying to be discreet, low key, and it's like the weed shop, for whatever reason, it's empty that day. So I walk in, and there's our target at the counter.
Yeah.
So right away he knew who I was. He looked around. The funny part is there was a couch in the middle of the weed shop. So he tries to go out the door. I try to block him. And then next thing you know, we're running around circles around the couch like a cartoon.
Yeah.
There was like a two-door, like a screen door inside, and then a secondary door. Well, he manages to get through both, and I don't have a chance to let him know on the radio what's going on. Next thing you know, this guy flies out of the weed shop, Cat sees him at some point, and then the chase is on. We ran on foot, went through a dirt lot, like a powdery dirt lot. We probably caught for like the next 3 days because we were eating that dirt.
Is it just the two of you on this?
Just
the
me and
two of
him.
us.
You didn't have any
And
support
I'm,
from
yeah.
the local agencies?
So while he's inside the store, I'm out in the car thinking, man, this is a horrible idea. I said, I think I'm gonna go inside and check Lewis out because he'd been in there for longer than I thought he should have been.
Yeah.
So I'm coming around the corner, all of a sudden these doors like burst open, and there goes a guy, and there's Lewis behind him. And like he said, we chased him and went through this powder field. And the funny part is we've been working together so long that if we don't get, and you're probably the same way, if you don't get a guy, you get mad, and we're like mother effing each other in somebody's backyard. We don't even know whose backyard we're in, but we've got their water hose trying to drink water and rinse some of the powdered dirt
Clear
out.
our throats out.
But yeah, and then we started laughing about it, and then I think Lewis suggested, "Hey, let's go back and see if they had a video camera."
Yeah.
That was the funniest part, watching it on video.
Oh, so they had you on video.
We went back, and even the guys in the shop, I think they had already watched it probably a few times, but yeah, watched Lewis chasing the guy around the couch.
That's funny.
Yeah, we went to the back room, saw it. They were laughing. We were laughing. We didn't get them that day, obviously, but we got them at a later time.
Yeah.
But,
So the Weedshop was friendly. I should let you come watch their surveillance.
yes, they were actually, but that was when weed shops just,
They just started.
they just started, and it's not anything like it is now. But,
No.
but yeah, they were super friendly. It was pretty funny though.
Yeah, that's funny. So you got him later on, you said?
He got away. We got him. Me and another guy got him. Maybe like a week or 2 weeks later. That time we did code off. We had radio.
Yeah.
We had backup. Showed up.
Adjusted your tactics a little?
He did run again. He did run again.
Well, yeah, it worked the first time.
But yeah, we ended up catching him.
Nice. Good. What about the keyhole? Looking through a keyhole? What's that about?
So, same thing. I think we're doing like a unit-wide felony warrant sweep, and it was around lunchtime. So we're up in this part of town called the Loma, and we see our guy. So we jump out of our vehicles. He gets away. So me and this guy were mad, of course. And I think we had a late night. We were working a late night a few nights later. So again, we come up with this plan. No ops plan, no nothing. I don't even know if we had radios that day either, but we're walking down this alley at night towards this house where we pretty much knew he was at. So Lewis says, "Hey, I'll go to the back, you go to the front." And because we're in this alley looking in the kitchen through this window, and we see him in there washing dishes. So we knew he was in there. So like I said, Lewis said, "Hey, I'll go to the back, you go to the front." So so I'm like tiptoeing, and it's one of the houses that's up on a foundation, so it's wooden, so you can hear me coming up. So I noticed that the door doesn't have a door handle; it's just got a deadbolt. I said, "Oh, I'm gonna look through through where the door handle goes."
Yeah.
So I bend down, I look through, and there's an eyeball. I like jump back, and so does he.
Yeah.
It scared both of us.
Yeah.
So I'm like, "Open the door," and I hear Lewis. Lewis says something in Spanish. So he's like, okay, I'm opening the door. So he opens the door. It's him and his girlfriend. I put cuffs on him, and I tell Lewis, "Hey, come around. I got him." So Lewis comes around, and the guy's joking around with us, and he like looks at us, and he's like, "Hey, it was just you two?" And we're like, "Yeah." He's like, "Shit, I would have ran if I knew it was I thought there's a bunch of you guys out there, because I forget what you said, but you said something like everybody go to the back or something like that.
Yeah.
You said something pretty witty."
That's funny.
But yeah, the guy was mad because he's like, "Oh man."
Yeah, he thought there was more of us.
Yeah.
It was just me and him.
You're just bold.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What were you telling him? Like, hey, we have the place surrounded or something?
Pretty much. We've done we got a dog.
Oh yeah.
Like
Yeah,
their
always.
dog is barking, and they think we actually have a dog. Back then, and then
Oh, we still do that now.
and then they come out thinking, hey, these guys are gonna send a dog in or whatever. And that reminds me of
I was just gonna
another
say.
case. We were looking for a guy with the warrant up north, and small trailer. So there was a few of us, and he had a dog tied outside the door. So we're banging on the door, we get no answer. Finally, he answers, but he's not coming out. So we start telling him, "Hey, we're gonna send the dog in. We're gonna send the dog in," and his dog is barking. Well, that got him to come out. He's like, "Hey, don't send the dog in. I don't want to get bit." Comes out, we hook him up, and then we just start laughing because it was his own dog.
Yeah.
But that was pretty common, or it's happened a few times, and it's worked. So
Yeah, bluff your way through it.
pretty much, yeah.
That's funny. We had a guy on the show a few months back, Ryan, and he was talking about a case where we chased a guy up in that same neighborhood in the Loma, and he ran to a house and shut the door, and the front door was like a glass pantry door. So like the whole majority of the door was like foggy window glass, and then just had like a wood frame around it, like you would have on a pantry. And then he was refusing to come out, and he had made mention to a tactic that you came up with.
Yeah.
I want you to tell us about that.
Okay. So yeah, Ryan covered it pretty good, but yeah, we ran up and everybody ran inside, and we could see him
Yeah.
all sitting inside the living room. So
And this
I don't
guy's
know.
already wanted for,
He's already
I can't
wanted
remember what it
for,
was, some
I think
violent
it was
felony.
It was a shooting.
it was a no, it was a
Shooting.
stabbing, wasn't it? Shooting or stabbing?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was.
There's a lot of them.
It was.
Yeah.
It was a group of them that
Group
were
of them
wanted.
that
I
were
don't remember the
wanted.
specifics, but if it was someone we were looking for, it's because he
Yeah.
either shot or stabbed someone.
Mhm.
Yeah. So we're there at the house, and like you said, I noticed that glass door, and I looked down on the flower bed, and there's a Razor scooter.
Yeah.
So I was like, gosh. So I told Ryan, I'm gonna throw this through the window. He's like, no, don't. They'll come out. They'll come out. Don't throw it. So anyway, we're beating on the door, and they're not answering. You can hear everybody running around inside the house. So
Mm.
he's like, go ahead. So I get it, and I'm like, how am I gonna do this? So I was thinking about just hitting the door with it and try to knock it open.
Yeah.
And then I was thinking of like hitting the glass and like breaking it out. Well, something happened in my head, and I just threw the thing, and it went through there, and all the people are in there screaming, and Ryan's like, "That's right, get out!"
Yeah.
And so they started coming out, but yeah, we ended up getting the guy, and I think
Yeah.
I want to
up
say
in
he
the
had a
attic.
gun too.
Yep.
Several, I
Yeah.
think, at
Yeah,
least
he
a
was in the
couple.
attic too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but yeah, so I got the nickname for a while, Scooter.
Scooter.
Yeah, that's pretty.
Yeah, I just remember that night somebody yelling, "We're losing exigency" or something like that, like several times, and then that's when the scooter flew.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. It
that was,
worked. I mean, got everybody come out except for him. He's hiding in the attic.
Yeah, he ended up in the attic. He came out eventually.
Yeah. Talk to me about Scooby Doo as a tactic.
no, it reminded me. It wasn't us necessarily, but it was somebody in our unit that
Mhm.
worked with us. It was older gentleman, older female. They went out looking for a warrant suspect. It reminded me of a Scooby Doo, like a cartoon episode. So they came back and like told us a story like it was nothing, and we were just, it was hilarious.
Yeah.
So they go to the house. They know the guy's or family member lets him in, and they're like, "Hey, he's in the back room asleep or whatever." So they get to the back room, and they see that the guy's covered under a blanket,
Mhm.
and they're calling him and calling him
Mhm.
to wake up or get up or whatever. So
That's
the
like a
guy,
common tactic. Just pretend to be asleep and they
yeah.
won't see me.
That's it.
So he must have had it planned out. They got closer to the bed, and they're still giving him commands to come out from under the blanket. So he does like a cartoon. He literally stands up, throws a blanket over both of them, and now they're fighting to get out from under the blanket. He runs out, gets away, of course, and they come back with this story like they're surprised that that happened and he got away. And I'm like just thinking, how did you let that happen?
Yeah.
Like, so yeah, he threw the blanket over him, and can you just imagine they're trying to fight out of the blanket? Guy gets away.
Got him with a covered pile.
Pretty much,
Yeah.
yeah. So it's just hilarious, but yeah, I'm surprised. I wouldn't have told that story.
No.
I would.
I would just imagine the kind of blankets you're coming across too. Like what's on that?
Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
The smell of that.
Yeah, we've all been there, so I would have just kept that one to myself. But
Yeah. No, he wasn't even here. Never saw him.
yeah, no. They came back saying like, "You wouldn't believe what just happened," and talking about story. I'm like, "Oh my god."
Keep
So,
that between us, guys.
Yeah,
But
so
that's hilarious. Well, another hiding tactic, I guess. You were talking about somebody in a recliner. What was that operation like?
So we're up on the north end of town, and we see our guy. We're doing surveillance for a few hours. We see him in and out of this house, so we finally decide, hey, let's just go attempt contact. And I can't remember if somebody let us in or if he was by himself.
No, I think somebody let us in.
Someone let us in, so we're searching the house, and when you're searching the house, you're looking at all the hard places
Yeah.
somebody might,
Where someone would hide.
yeah, in cabinets, under beds, in closets,
Closets, yeah.
all these hard places. And we cleared the house several times, and we cannot find this guy, and we're like, we know he didn't get out.
Mhm.
So I'm going through this bedroom, and there's this little short like armchair. And I look beside the armchair, and the guy just has like a t-shirt over his head, just crouched down.
Mhm.
And I'm like, what?
So arms and legs sticking out from underneath.
Yeah, arms and legs. He's just got his head covered up.
Mhm.
So I'm like, get out of here, oh, show me your hands. And so we get him in custody, and he's like, dude, are you guys serious? He's like, I've been he's like, dude, you guys almost hit me walked into me a few times.
Yeah.
He's like, I thought you guys were joking with me.
Yeah.
He's like, all I had was a shirt over my head.
Yeah.
But it was like, we were like, oh my gosh.
Never let
Felt so stupid. Yeah.
in the obvious place.
Yes,
I've had that happen
yeah.
before too.
Yeah.
Not with a t-shirt, but yeah, I tripped over the suspect in like a backyard on a yard search.
Yeah.
Yeah, you get so focused on these other places and sometimes forget the obvious.
Yeah, that's funny. Well, what about a not so obvious place? We were talking about TVs earlier.
Oh
A
yeah.
little less obvious than a t-shirt.
Little ass.
Same thing though. You go search the entire place. You have a perimeter, so you know the guy didn't get out.
So you see a guy running in, you know he's in there.
You know he's in there. You're not so much the TVs now, but the older model, the real big TVs. So
The old school big screens from like the 90s.
yeah. So what's some of the ones we were helping them, no? With one of them, with Lonnie.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. But he was in Oildale, wasn't he? Or
Yeah, I believe so. Same thing. We go, we search everything, we can't find them, and then I don't know who said, "Hey, let's check the TV or something," or
Mhm.
behind the TV, and the back panel was loose. You open that up, and that happened to us at least twice that I can remember. The guy was basically hiding inside the hollowed out TV.
Yeah.
So you kind of you go through it, you do a secondary search, and you can't find it. You're like doubting yourself: was he in here? Was he not? And then there he is in the freaking TV or whatever.
that first one we found, he had it set up. He had a pillow in there, a blanket. Like he was in there for
For the long
the
haul.
long haul. Yeah. So I kind of wonder how many people we've missed, like in
Get some
TVs
snacks, Got,
Like-
got a piss bottle.
Yeah, everything. Yeah. So now
How'd you
That's
guys
the
find
first
the
thing.
first one?
I think it was luck. I think just something was a little bit off on the TV. So I think the screen was a little off. So we pulled it and it like came right off. Then the second one, I want to say a dog found him.
Dog's the best way.
Yeah.
Because you'll walk
Yeah.
right past it, but the dog will alert on it.
Yes.
Like, what
Yeah.
does the dog want with this TV?
Yeah.
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 That's crazy.
But
I'm about to start checking TVs now.
that's it.
Yeah.
I mean, you really don't even see them anymore.
No,
but
yeah.
still,
No.
I'm not going to be hiding in a
just
flat
in case,
screen.
though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I found a guy in a hotel room one time, the little entertainment center with the TV and the small little drawer.
Yeah.
I found a guy in there, knees up to his chest, crammed in there, and then the guy on the east side.
Mm-hmm.
We're literally checking a cabinet under a sink, cabinet drawers,
Yeah.
and we open a small little cabinet and we see the guy's face there.
Yeah.
So we pull him out. I don't know how he got there, but and I don't even know why we were checking those small drawers, but he was in there.
Yeah.
So
I was on a SWAT call once for a guy who had murdered his girlfriend, shot her and killed her, and then he was hiding in a trailer park just outside of town. And we get there and get set up on the trailer, and I don't know if we're positive he was in there, or if we were just pretty sure he was in there. I don't know if we had confirmed ID, but it was a SWAT call out, and I was a sniper at the time, so I was just set up in a perimeter position, and I hear him. I hear someone from inside the trailer yelling, "Help!" I'm like, what the fuck is that? Like, because like all the people that were in it had already got evacuated, so there's not supposed to be anyone in there. It was like somebody's yelling for help. Like if it's our suspect, why would he be asking for our help? You know, he's like, help me. And it's like getting louder, like, help me. And I get on the radio, I'm like, until the command post, like, hey, there's someone asking for help inside the trailer. And then like I was on the kitchen side where the kitchen windows look out, and you see the curtains kind of get pulled a little bit, and then they get ripped down, and I can see the suspect, and he's upside down, like on the other side of the window, and he pulled the curtains down, and he's like yelling for help. And so there's a cabinet, like above the kitchen cabinet, and he had hidden there and then he was trying to get out, and he got stuck, and so he was like hanging. His upper body was hanging, but his legs were caught inside of this cabinet above the kitchen sink, and he's screaming for help, but he can't get out. And so I get on like, yeah, he's in there. I can see him, and he's stuck over the kitchen sink. And then the command post is like, well, let's deploy the throw phone. So like they were just going through the procedures, on a
Yeah.
barricade. You get the throw phone in there. I was like, I don't think you can come to the phone right now, guys. Like,
Unless we get it right to him, throw it right to him.
so we had to go in there and pull him out. It was like legs were asleep. He couldn't stand up because he'd been caught in that position for a few hours. And
Was he like hanging upside down or something?
yeah, his like lower half was stuck in the cabinet, and his upper half was like dangling. And it looked pretty uncomfortable too because he's hanging in that position. He had gotten a broom, and he was using the broom to kind of like post up to like try to lift himself up so he wasn't just stuck hanging. And yeah, that poor guy.
Oh, guy.
Well, yeah, he was a murder suspect, I guess.
Yeah.
What else?
So you guys are like professional, like hide and seek players, then, huh?
Pretty much.
Like adult hide and seek.
Yeah, yeah.
You
Yeah.
guys just seek these dudes out.
Just seek. Yep.
What's the most amount of times you feel like the same person has like gotten away from you? Besides that weed shop dude who got away from you once.
That guy, that was more than once. He got away from us several times.
Really?
But when we ended up catching him, he had an escape route. Like he had it planned out. He was in a trailer, and there was no way to really creep up on it because it was in the middle of like an open lot. And when he took off running, he had like old couches and stuff propped up next to the fences. So he knew where to go. He doubled back, went northbound. My partner chased him, and I always told these guys, "Hey, the car doesn't get tired." So I jumped in the, I jumped in the car, and I start going northbound, paralleling the guy. Finally, we get him in the backyard. There was a marijuana grow, so the residents had raised up the fence.
Yeah.
So he couldn't get out, and then we ended up catching him. But he was always good.
We had several when we first started.
Several.
That would
Repeat offenders.
it was actually fun chasing them. They like gave us a run for their money, and you always felt pretty accomplished when you got them. But
Yeah.
it was like
You get a lot of-
they were different back then too. The criminals were different. It was
Yes.
like, they had their job, we had our job.
Yeah.
We didn't cross any lines, and
Yeah.
and they would I think they had a good time too
Yeah.
with the chase. But we had a couple that we called them our frequent flyers that were we get them a sign, we're like, oh, this is gonna be a good one.
Yeah.
We have one, we just caught one. I think you were with us one time, Travis, that dude up in the mountains, the helmet boy, remember that guy?
I think so.
We
Oh, I have that picture. We'll post it on Instagram.
Yeah.
Of us up there.
of all of us.
Yeah,
Yeah,
the
that was
mountains.
cool.
Yeah.
So we ended up getting him last week, right, Lewis?
Mhm.
And well,
Frequent
we didn't
flyers.
get him. Two
Oh, that was a funny story too.
two citizens got him. So we're
Yeah.
coming back from that house, Travis, in the little canyon there,
Mhm.
and kind of the same scenario. I think you or somebody else seen him on a bike riding in town there. Well, we came down that same hill back into town, and Lewis was like, "There's our guy," and we're like, "Where?" And so he ends up seeing him. He takes off running into this little creek bed.
So the same guy in the same
Same
place.
guy.
Years
Same
later.
area.
Same area years later.
Because this was like 2017, 18 when we
Yeah.
got him the last time.
Yeah. So we hear him screaming in this creek bed. So we had a pretty good perimeter set on him. So the guys down the hill perimeter thought that we had got to him. And so he's running over there, and he's wondering, hey, why aren't these guys wearing a vest? And he's like, man, these guys are pounding on him. Like, why aren't they wearing a vest?
Yeah.
Well, the closer he gets, he finds out it's two like citizens that,
He ran into their property.
yeah, and they thought he was robbing them. And he had like a little BB gun or whatever. So they're just thumping on this guy, and we had to rescue him from
To save him.
from the citizens.
That's similar to being stuck in a cabinet. Help me!
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, you were talking about how there people are different, like the people you run into. And I remember as a gang unit officer, me and two of my partners, Alan and Isaac, we got in a fight with this old school Hispanic gangster, and it was all done, and we get him, cleaned up and in custody. And our supervisor shows up to do us, use of force report or whatever, and he starts talking to this guy, and he's asking him, like what happened during the use of force, doing his use of force interview, and he asks him like, did any of the officers like hit you or use any force against you? And he's sitting there in handcuffs, and he's like, and he goes, like he didn't want to lie, but he goes, yeah, but they didn't know if I had any weapons. And he was like trying to justify us using force during this fight to our supervisor, like he didn't want us to get in trouble, you know? I was like,
Yeah, they were different back then.
The old school ones, they would always say, hey, I fell. I fell, and it was business on both sides, on our end, and it was business on their end, but not that's not the way it is nowadays with these guys.
Yeah, now ever since not as a supervisor, I got to take supervisor reports, use of force reports, and you get there, and it's like the stories you'll hear, and you're like, okay, like I went to one a few years back, and they're like, there's 4 or 5 officers involved, and they get this guy. It was a like minor use of force. Like, we had video of it, and they just take him down and they put him in handcuffs. But when you talk to him and you talk to all the witnesses, they're like, oh no, there was all 5 of those officers. They all had their knee on his neck.
Yeah.
And I'm like, wait,
How do you put 5 knees?
how do you have the real estate to fit 5 knees on one neck?
yeah.
Like, how is that even possible?
Yeah. I got another good picture. Remember that, I think it was New Year's Eve,
Mhm.
the lady up on the north end of town, and I'll just say she killed herself. And remember,
Oh, yeah.
all of our cars were inside the crime scene, and
Yeah.
there was only one car out, and all of us had to jump in that minivan and
And
go back to the station for our interview. But
Yeah.
I have a picture of us all crammed in there. I
Yeah.
think Mason was there. You were there.
Mason, that was his first day, I believe. He took over the team that was
okay.
his first day.
That would be about right. Yeah.
Yeah, and that was Aaron's old van. I ended up later on. I had that van, but it was Aaron's van. About 8 of us in there.
Yeah, that was a wild one because Ryan, we were going to arrest her.
Mhm.
We already arrested a boyfriend. He had a warrant, and then she was hiding the gun, and we suspected she was hiding the gun, and then she was getting ready to leave. And she was being really cooperative, but then she was getting ready to leave, and she wouldn't let us search the truck, and we were going to arrest her. We were being cooperative. She was being cooperative, so we were being cool with her, but she was aiding and abetting this other guy. So
Yeah.
when she refused to cooperate at that point, we're like, all right, well, you're under arrest. And she was sitting in the truck, and she looks at Ryan, and she says, I'm under arrest. And he says, yeah, you're under arrest. And she goes, okay. She pulls a gun out and just pow and shoots herself. Yeah. Yeah, right in front of us. It's like, oh,
Yeah, that was all bad.
that was all bad. Yeah, that was, I think, yeah, Mason's first day. Welcome
Yeah.
to the unit.
Yeah.
Yeah. Talk about how good that Luis is at IDing people.
Oh, we coined that. Were you there?
Bearcat.
You ID people like I can't even believe. Like I'm not
Yeah.
good. Like you could take like some people like their photograph and hold it right next to their face, and I look back and forth and be like, I don't know.
We
This
we
guy's
coined
like
we coined Bearcat shirt, and that was
catcher.
Bearcat.
Bearcat,
Bearcat.
sure.
So when we PID a guy now,
Yeah.
we'll say, "Hey, are you Bearcat shirt?" But that came from one of your guys' cases. It was a case somewhere on the south end of town, murder suspect.
Yeah.
Something happened. Ryan was out there with us, and a name came up, and we're like, "Hey." That name that came up ended up being related to the murder suspect. So we go out there. By then, I had the white van. So I'm sitting on point, like a block and a half, 2 blocks away, middle of summer.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't want to give my position away. So I turn the van off,
Yeah.
crack a window, and I'm sitting there midsummer
Cooking.
cooking. I got neighbors looking in the van. I'm in there holding my mud or whatever. I have my binos out. So there's a lot of activity in and out of that house. And I remember the guy we were looking for had the tattoo of the Chargers logo
Mm-hmm.
on his arm. The guy was dark, but it was visible. He had a Chargers jersey that day, and a bunch of people come out, and one of the guys that left, they do a traffic stop. He had multiple warrants, or he was wanted for something. Um, so then pretty much it was on me.
Mm-hmm.
Mason saying, "Hey, are you sure that's the guy?" And I'm like, 100%. I saw the guy. So the plan was to do a surround and call out.
Mm-hmm.
The mobile command post comes out, brass comes out. By then, the entire block is like taped off. We have neighbors on lawn chairs sitting, just watching the show. Right? We were out there so long that like a neighbor went and got a case of water
Mm-hmm.
and brought it to the. By then, we had already moved in, and they brought us a case of water. Like, hey, here's some water for you guys. It was a hot day. So sure enough, we start pulling out people, and Mason's nervous. Is that the guy? And I'm like, no, Sarge, that's not the guy. Pull another guy out. Is that the guy you PID'd? I'm like, no. So he's doubting me, and now I'm doubting
Yeah.
myself.
Yeah.
So like 5, 6 guys later, like I said, by then all the brass is there, command post is there. By then it's dark,
Yeah.
and all the neighbors are still out there. So then call outs continue. The guy doesn't come out. Well, finally, mom shows up on scene. And she's like, hey, who's in charge? We're like, hey, Mason's in charge. So she goes over there and talks to him and says, hey, man, my son's in the attic. He's going to come out, but I don't want you guys to shoot and kill him.
Yeah.
So they made some phone calls. Sure enough, the guy comes out, hands go up in the air. Like it seemed like 50 phones behind us just lit up like at a concert because everybody's recording now, wanting to see what's going to happen.
Yeah.
Take him into custody. He's got the jersey. He's got the matching tattoo. And I was super relieved because when you make a call like that
Yeah.
and you tie up all these resources and all these people come out. So then from there, like if we ID somebody, well, that's kind of like the standard. Hey, are you Bearcat shirt?
Yeah.
Because Bearcats were out there, on
And sure enough to call everyone
Yes,
out and turn this
exactly.
into a big thing.
Are you sure? Because they're going to mobilize whoever and tie up the resources. So we kind of use that now. Hey, are you Bearcat sure? No, I'm not. I'm not that sure if it's him or not.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was at the end of the night. I was doubting myself because so many people were not at the house. Mason was doubting me until finally the last guy that came out was our suspect or
Yeah.
whatever. But that was an all day ordeal. So,
I was on the other end one time,
the freeway.
the freeway. So I see a guy coming out, and I think we're on the south end of town. And I'm calling units to. The guy gets mobile. He's wearing like one of those big beach hats, covering his face up. He had something on his face, but I was sure it was him. So he gets in the car, takes off. So I'm following him around town. I'm trying to get units to come stop him, but everybody's tied up. So I keep following him, keep following him. Finally, units start becoming available, and he jumps on the 58 going eastbound. So, like I say, everybody starts answering up. So we get, I think we get to, I forget how far down the 58 we get, but they close down eastbound traffic, all eastbound traffic. It's to stop him. There's a big conga line of us.
Yeah.
I mean, I think there's dudes. I don't even know who they were from. They were in a Suburban, a blacked out Suburban. I don't know who they were, but they were there. So they're giving this guy commands to come out of the car, and I see this, and our guy's kind of young. I see this old hand come out to unlock the door, and it was at that point. At that point I knew I screwed up.
Yeah.
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 I'm like, oh, that's not him. So sure enough, it wasn't him. And like I said, they had all of 58 shut down.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, I felt so stupid, but Somebody made me feel better. Oh no, it kind of looks like him. They know,
Not
dude.
Bearcat sure on this one.
No,
This
it
is
doesn't
not
look like
Bearcat
him at
sure.
all. Yeah. So, but
It's like that meme of it's like the guy sweating and it says like when you tell your wife that it's not that the thing you're looking for isn't there and then she gets up to go look.
yeah,
It's like,
It's not
I
there.
hope it's not there.
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah.
Oh
How
man.
often do you think that happens? Where you bring out the Bearcat to look for someone in the house and they end up not being there?
Every once in a while. Because like you said, Bearcat sure is like
Yeah,
you're sure.
yeah. Do you remember that?
Well, it does happen where I've had it happen where you're pretty confident you saw them go in there, but you didn't have a good perimeter at the moment, and then they got out, and before you're able to get it locked down, and then you do the whole rigmarole and get everyone out there and get all spun up, and then they're not there. But because they got out right there at the initial part, I've
Yeah.
had that happen before. What were you saying?
No, because I was gonna bring up. Do you remember that last SWAT call out before you went to IA? It was over in the valley
Yeah,
where everyone,
did
including
OC
yourself,
spritz.
yeah, we thought he was in the attic. It was like a 245 shooting, and dude shot his brother. They all ran back to the house, and then by the time we get there, we find the brother bleeding in the house. We shut everything down, and no one is saying that the other brother left or anything like that. We searched the rest of the house. On the second floor, you find we found this like box, like a gun case, and it was like, this is probably the gun case that for the gun that the dude has. Everyone said like no, he didn't leave or anything like that. And we checked the rest of the rooms, and then one of the rooms, like the little crawl space for the attic, was like kind of like shifted. We're like, oh, dude, he's up here. So after that, we shut everything down, get a perimeter, have someone hold that room, and then we started getting everything out. The Bearcat, command post, everything. You came out,
Yeah.
and then you had that fucking. We tried using that bounce viewer, the
Mhm.
ball, the 360 ball thing.
Yep.
That thing works pretty good.
Mhm.
And then you gas the whole.
No, we just did a little bit of OC. We didn't do any CS. We didn't use hot gas. We used the OC.
I
Which
just remember you getting fucking coughing from that shit.
Yeah, that's like mildly uncomfortable. If you put the CS in there, you're not staying in on the
No.
CS.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but
It's OC vapor.
yeah.
Yeah, we posted that video of you guys eating OC vapor in that car.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can fight it out if you have to.
Oh yeah, for sure you can. Well, at the end of it, like the dude wasn't up there. Turns out that he had jumped the fence and fled the backyard.
And ditched the gun in a school.
Yeah, just in elementary school.
At a fucking elementary school. Ditched the gun on the ground there. All right. Well, listen, Lewis, Chad, thanks for coming out and talking to us.
Thank you.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah, of course. Thank you for everyone for listening and stay frosty.